Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so this is awesome. I can't wait to start talking about this book, but let's get my normal bookkeeping out of the way. Yes, we're going to be talking about Holly by Stephen King. I finished this earlier this morning and can't wait to start talking about this. So we're going to talk about this. Also, my Super Size Me large book, over 800 page novel summer read challenge, Anathema. Check this out. I actually have gotten some reading of this done. I'm on page 570. I'm gonna finish it. Got to finish it by the 21st. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I think I can get it done this week. So hopefully we'll talk about this next week. Anathema by Neil Stephenson. Also, A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. This is the read-along I do with Graz. We call it the Marvelous Team Up. This is our next graphic novel that we are reading together, and I've gotten the first 3 chapters read, and I will be doing a video on this soon. You'll see it very shortly. So check that out, and check out Graz's channel too. And then last, my goal for this month in my Shorty King project is Just After Sunset, another compilation book by Stephen King. Hopefully I'll get this done by the end of the month. I should be able to. It's one of his shorter compilation books, so we'll be talking about that. Haven't even started reading that yet, unfortunately. All right, let's get to it. Stephen King. Holly. We'll get the numbers out of the way with this. This was published on September 5th, so what, 2 weeks ago, barely. My copy and, well, any of the hardback copies so far have 449 pages. On Goodreads, it currently has a 4.28. I'm going to tell you, I gave it 5 stars. I loved this book. Of course, I love Holly. Let's talk about one thing real quick. Stephen King is going to turn 76 years old on September 21st of this year. That's amazing. Still going strong, still writing strong. It's amazing. I love it. Kudos to Stephen King and his family, of course. All right, so this is a Holly Gibney novel, and it's what people are saying, procedural crime novel. We're going to talk a little bit about it, but let me just, if you are not familiar with Holly, please start reading Holly books. They're awesome. She's an awesome character. Let me just show you. I'm going to use a bunch of props today because I just want to show off my other books. If you want to start with Holly, you got to start at the beginning. Mr. Mercedes. Read this one, and you should read them in order. Mr. Mercedes. Then, of course, that was followed up by, Finders Keepers. This is the second novel in this trilogy. Then you've got the third one, End of Watch. This trilogy is great. There was a TV series with Mr. Mercedes. I didn't like the TV series that much. It's all right. The actors are really good. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like a lot of Stephen King's, of course, things that end up in movie form or TV form they're not. I'm not a huge fan of. Some of them I am. This isn't bad TV series. It just it wasn't one of my favorites. After End of Watch, though, right after that, he published Outsider. The Outsider. The Outsider is really focuses with Holly after what happens in these 3 books. The Outsider. Now, the one thing about these 4, well, even the next one. Let me show you the next one. Then after that, of course, Stephen King published If It Bleeds, a short story compilation novel. One of the stories is a Holly Gibney story, focuses on Holly. So you've got 3, 4, 5 books right here to really dip your toes into Holly and that character. All these 5 though have a really large supernatural story line throughout them, and really kind of Stephen King's bread and butter. This one is not like those. This is a pure procedural type crime novel. Holly, of course, is a private investigator and runs Finders Keepers, which is the name to her private investigation company. And that was started, of course, with Bill Hodges and her, and now has gone on to being her. And one of Bill Hodges's friends that he worked with in police when he was a policeman, Pete, is now a partner with her. And of course, we've got always the ever-present Jerome and Barbara, 2 of my favorite characters. I think maybe Barbara might even be my favorite character in these whole series. Holly, of course, is awesome, but I don't know. I love Barbara. I think Barbara deserves her own book, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, this is the 6th book that Holly is in, and this one, of course, is Holly. This is purely a Holly novel, and if you have read or haven't read these other ones, you'll see her growth through all 5 of them. You know, Stephen King does great characters, and he does great, like, adolescence growing into adulthood type stories. This one, Holly doesn't start really as an adolescent, a younger woman than she is now, of course, but the growth of his characters is always one of the best things in his books, and this, of course, won't let you down. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to give a lot away like I normally do in my videos, but Holly's mother has just recently passed away. She passes away due to COVID-19. Now, let's talk about that. This book has, I guess I'm going to call them triggers. There is a lot of subject in this novel that could trigger a lot of people. There's politics, there's COVID-19, of course. So you've got, with that, masking and vaxxers and anti-vaxxers and things like that. People believe, people don't believe. And it runs throughout this book. Why I bring it up is because it's the huge controversy apparently with this novel. There are a lot of people who are slamming this book because of it. Now, I'll tell you, I went and I read a lot of the reviews on Goodreads. I mean, I know I shouldn't. There was hundreds of reviews of this book before it even came out. I don't understand how people are given these arcs to read before the book comes out when they don't even read the book. And then they make comments about it on Goodreads. It drives me crazy. I went and purposely read a lot of the 1-star reviews, and I read a dozen of them. Every single one of them rated the book a 1 and did the book as a DNF, did not finish. Every single one of them was because of the politics, you know how Stephen King is, anti-Trump politics, and the COVID-19 references in this book. Oh, this is a modern book, this is taking place during COVID-19. A lot of people DNF this book because of those reasons, and I'm sorry, people. If you're DNFing a book, you have no right to write a review. One person wrote, "Oh, I DNF'd this book. I read 7%. 7% of 450 pages is like 32 pages? How can you review a book and you've read 32 pages of the book?" It drives me insane. Yes, it's very heavy, the politics and the COVID-19. At the beginning of this book, he's establishing this time frame that this book is taking place. And because Holly's mother dies from COVID-19, which thousands of people died from COVID-19, it's an ever-present problem in this book, and he just uses it. He talks at the end of the book, as he so often does, about the writing of this novel, and he even says he's sad because in If It Bleeds, the story that Holly is in actually takes place at the beginning of when this pandemic started, and he didn't put it in this book. So he likes his books if he's writing something, old-fashioned, to have a lot of information from that time period in the book to make it realistic. This one, it happens during COVID, so he puts it in the book. Another thing he doesn't mention in the back of the book that I think is the main reason for having COVID in this book is it's horrific. What happened and is still happening with that virus is horrific. It's scary as hell. You don't believe me? Let me show you some more props. What the hell is this? Captain Trips. It's a virus that kills half the planet. Oh, no one had any problem reading this. It's one of his most famous books he ever wrote. The Stand. What about even another one? The Cell. Have you read The Cell? These people turn into zombies? What? And not even Stephen King. That's just Stephen King. How about, I'll show you another one. The Andromeda Strain. I mean, this has been a subject that's been used in horrific style books for a long time. I think that's part of Stephen King's modus operandi. He has horrific things in his books. They're not always horror novels, but I think that's one of the most horrific things in this book. There's other things too. There's cannibalism and other things in this book. So there's other horrific things that happen in this book. But this isn't necessarily a horror novel. It's a crime novel, and it's a pretty darn good one. Another thing that's really cool about this book is, and Stephen King does this a lot, he references a lot of other horror novels and movies and things like that in this book. It's awesome when he does that. He even mentions Carrie in this book. It gave me a big smile on my face when I read that. Poetry is a big thing in this novel. And of course, tell me if you've heard this before, smoking. Man, quitting smoking for Stephen King must have been the worst thing he ever did. Best thing, but because he talks about it in so many of his novels, smoking and quitting smoking and things like that. Of course, Holly was a smoker. She quit smoking, and in this novel she starts smoking again, but she knows it's bad. If you know Holly, you'll understand. I don't know, he really has a thing with smoking. Also, this book, the ending. The ending is, it's wow. The ending made my jaw drop open. Not because reading the book, you kind of know how it's going to end, but not in the fashion that it happens in this book. It was pretty crazy. I was shocked by how it ended. And for Stephen King, people always, complain about him not knowing how to end a novel. This was really good. I loved it. Yeah, not a long novel, 450 pages. You'll fly through it. Stephen King for me is an easy read. And oh, another thing I want to talk about. I'm trying not to give away things like I normally do in my videos, but this is really cool. You can't see it, of course, like this, but anything that's this gold yellow here, all this holly, the lights in the house, this light on the side, up the spine, even this blurb in the back is highly, I don't know what the chemical is they use nowadays, but highly glow in the dark. It's weird. I had this sitting by my bedside table, and of course I had to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I got up and I was like, what's that over there? I look over and this thing is glowing, like crisp, very vibrant, glow in the dark. It's really cool. I don't know if anybody else has mentioned that on any other videos, but it's cool as hell. Check it out. If you have it, try it out. It's really kind of cool. I don't know. I'm kind of geeking out over it. I'm sorry. All right. So really, if you want to read a cool crime novel with great characters, a lot of characters though, maybe you might want to read these other books just to be a little bit more familiar with, but you don't have to. You can read this standalone by itself. It's that good. But if you can, try to read the other Holly novels. They're excellent. Great character, awesome character. There'll probably be more. Like I said, I'd like to see a novel about Barbara. Even Jerome's great. Brother and sister, they're awesome. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave it. You really should read it. It's awesome. I loved it. And I can't wait to see what comes next from the soon-to-be 76-year-old Stephen King. All right, guys. If you found any entertaining value in my videos, please like, subscribe, and leave me comments. I love the comments. I always say. And until next time, peace out.